Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast brought to you by Nutrient Ag Solutions. As we look at the last 48 hours of precipitation, we're really shifting to a regime here where we're done talking about these multi-day, statewide, long-term precipitation events here and shifting back to into a more typical June pattern. That is more scattered and more isolated thunderstorm clusters, bringing more localized rainfall to the region. We did have some of that across parts of the Northeast region, some of that as well across parts of the Corn Belt as we went through the last 48 hours. The last 14 days really reveals the story, the problematic story across portions of the central United States, where we're dealing with planting delays here in the Corn Belt. But some of that did extend over into parts of the Northeast region with several rounds of severe weather across Pennsylvania and surrounding areas as we talk about the end of the last week. We'll look at the jet stream from a week ago, and this was a pattern that we were hammering on for several weeks, a pattern where we watched these long waves, this large trough over the western United States with a ridge over the eastern United States, where it was cooler off to the west, it was stormy and active in the central United States, and it was warm over the southeast, with some of those precipitation events from the Corn Belt making their way into the Northeast region as well, with some of that severe weather across the state of Pennsylvania and surrounding areas as well. It's just an example of that that more long wave pattern that we had over the last couple of weeks. Now we're shifting into a pattern where the stronger jet stream flow is lifting north into Canada, which is seasonally appropriate. And then across the central United States into the Northeast region, we have to watch for these subtle little ripples in the flow, such as this shortwave trough that's kicking off thunderstorms in the eastern Corn Belt Tuesday and Wednesday, and then some of that moving into the Northeast region as we get into the later part of the week. So a situation where a forecast regime where we're watching for more subtle details rather than the big obvious storm systems. Across the central U.S., we're also watching this trough over the southwest United States. It's going to slowly make its way east along the Ohio River, bringing eventually some thunderstorms to the eastern Corn Belt and then possibly shifting some precipitation into the Northeast region as well as we get into the middle part of the next week. Here's what this should look like as we get into Thursday with that storm system over the southern plains making its way slowly to the east, with northwest flow in parts of the Northeast region keeping us a bit cooler as we get into the later part of the week. The radar picture here on Tuesday morning, again, we were watching some precipitation across parts of the Northeast region here, which has come to an end. So we go ahead and play this one more time, though, and now we're just watching scattered clusters of showers and storms across parts of the eastern Corn Belt, parts of the Great Lakes region as well, with some of that activity shifting east with time into the Northeast region. The high-resolution rapid refresh model kind of shows the next day or so as we go ahead and loop out the precipitation type forecast from this, and that's going to show precipitation moving into the Northeast region as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, bringing some showers, especially to parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and southern Maine. Again, Tuesday night into the day on Wednesday. We can take a look at the high-resolution NAM model, which will show us a similar picture. That precipitation, again, heaviest across portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and southern Maine, with a second round coming in here as we get into now Wednesday evening, and then early in the day on Thursday, seeing more widespread precipitation move across the region. Again, Wednesday night into Thursday morning is when that wave moves through. Total precipitation, again, from the high-resolution NAM model, just kind of picking up on the theme. If you can pick yourself on the map up here, don't. Try not to hone in on exactly how much rain you're getting per this map. This just kind of shows the pattern here where we're watching for, these clusters of showers and storms where, I mentioned a couple times the most heavy, widespread precipitation going to fall here across portions of New Hampshire, Vermont, southern Maine, and maybe New York State. Elsewhere, we're looking for just isolated to scattered showers and storms where perhaps some folks end up with nothing at all over the next 4 to 5 days, and then other folks picking up a downpour or two, maybe giving an inch or two of precipitation here. So a pattern where, unless you live in New Hampshire, Vermont, parts of New York State, or southern Maine, the thunderstorm clusters are going to be isolated or scattered in nature. We'll take a look at the European model, 500 millibar height and wind speed over here on the left. So we're looking at the jet stream in the mid-levels, and then the precipitation type forecast over on the right side. So let's go ahead, we'll click through time with this one, just kind of showing the evolution of the pattern. Remember, we're watching this shortwave trough right now over the central United States. That's kicking off isolated and scattered thunderstorms across the central and eastern Corn Belt Tuesday night into Wednesday. Let's go ahead, we'll move through time here. We begin to get into Wednesday night. Getting into Thursday morning, we're seeing some of that precipitation falling now across New Hampshire, Vermont, southern Maine. And we begin to move into now Thursday. Seeing more widespread precipitation as that second round moves through the area. We see a reprieve, a quiet spell here as we get into Thursday night into Friday morning. Now as we're getting northwest flow, keeping things a bit cooler, getting cooler air coming in here, but also have some sinking motion within the jet stream on the back side of that trough. And that's what, again, leads to a cooler and drier pattern across the region. So we're watching this system slowly migrating towards the Ohio River Valley. That is the big precipitation story as we get into the later part of the week. We're now into Saturday morning, still dry across the northeast region, getting into Saturday night into Sunday morning. Maybe a little ribbon of precipitation moving across portions of Maine. But by and large, after we get past, it looks like Wednesday into midday Thursday, it looks like a dry spell beginning. This would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then even much of Sunday as we look at the forecast here on Sunday evening, perhaps getting precipitation moving into parts of Pennsylvania and areas south and west from there as this slow-moving central and eastern Corn Belt system begins to move into the area. But again, once we get past this next couple of days of isolated to scattered thunderstorm complexes, it looks like much of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday dry across the northeast region. Total precipitations from precipitation totals here from the GFS and the European model side by side. So the European on the left, the GFS over here on the right side, and a pretty similar picture painted across the northeast region especially. The heaviest rain from that mid to late week system staying off south of the Ohio River Valley with a scattered smattering of precipitation totals here across the northeast region, which reflects what the high-resolution NAM model showed you as well. Some folks are going to see nothing here as we head through the rest of the week. Other folks are going to get a thunderstorm cluster or two, dropping an inch or two of precipitation on them. And then if you live in New Hampshire, Vermont, parts of New York State, and southern Maine, perhaps a steadier light rain stacking up again, maybe around an inch of precipitation by the time we get to the end of the week. But you too, seeing that dry spell for much of the day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Looking at temperatures the next 5 days, temperature anomaly, cooler temperature anomalies across the northeast region. That is expected, and that is as a result of that northwest flow that I pointed out with the jet stream here, taking us into June 9th. June 10th through June 14th, warming back up as a ridge begins to slide back into the area that has kept the Canadian prairies quite warm over the last week to 2 weeks. That begins to migrate eastward, and that brings some of those warmer risks to the northeast region. Your high temperatures for the next 5 days, here are the Tuesday high temps. 50s and 60s, pretty much widespread there, but you get the lower 70s as you get into Pennsylvania and parts south of there. Warmer as we head into the day on Wednesday. Your Thursday high temperatures now warmer still, more widespread 60s and 70s with lower 80s in the south. And then your Friday high temperatures finishing with Saturday widespread 70s as we enjoy a really beautiful weekend with dry conditions again and seasonally appropriate high temperatures in the middle to upper 70s. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video, and you can find your next Northeast regional forecast update for you right here midday on Friday. Have a great day.